So imagine you're on a boat and all of a sudden the boat just is flipped over, right? And you just look up and you're in the water. And somebody reaches out their hand to you to try to help you. Whoever it is, you're gonna reach and you're gonna allow them to pull you up out of the water because you just suddenly your ship is overturned and you found yourself drowning, right? And you need the help of somebody to get you up out of there, right? That's kind of like what happens with your faith when your faith becomes shipwrecked, and that's the condition that a lot of leaders who have agendas leave you in that type of state, right? So they come in with a lot of inflammatory speech, right? And they're like, everything that you ever learned is wrong. Everything that you're believing is a lie. Everything, they lead you to believe that everything is so far off from the truth and that you are just, so they hit you with all these things, and it's like your faith is just instantly shipwrecked. You're in a ship. You've been in this boat of faith, and all of a sudden it's just overthrown, and you don't know where to go, where to turn. So this leader is the one that's reaching out their hand. So you hold on to them to pull you up out of this place of confusion that you have now been thrown into, right? So you're allowing them to teach you. You're allowing them to lead you. You're allowing them to, you're trusting in what they're saying because they've said at least one or two things that you absolutely know and resonate with as being true. So now you're left in this place where, man, everything that I believed was a lie. And man, my whole belief system is not true. And now you're clinging on to this new leader or leaders, and to lead you back on the ship, back on the right ship, right? So that you can reestablish your faith. It's a dangerous place to be in. It's a dangerous place to be in. And these leaders use this inflammatory speech to put you into that position so that they can, amass people to themselves, draw people to themselves, so that they can feel like they have this exclusive knowledge or wisdom or insight that other people don't have. If leaders were responsible, they would tell you the truth in the same way that the Spirit guides you and leads you into all truth. The Most High typically does not shipwreck our faith. He does not typically just completely suddenly come and overthrow our ship, right? Sometimes he has to do that because we haven't been listening for such a long time. He's been trying to speak to us, and sometimes we have to crash into a brick wall in order for us to wake up and get the revelation and get the understanding. So the Most High will be aggressive at times, to get our attention and to get us to open our eyes to something that he's been trying to show us, right? But typically, if you have been in a level of relationship with the Most High, he's been leading you and guiding you, to some degree by his Spirit, the Most High will just as in the scriptures when he was leading them, he said he was going to drive out their enemies little by little. Like typically the Most High will build. He'll be able to build with you and drive out different lies and deceptions and bring you into certain truths little by little. He'll build upon the foundation he's already been rooting in you, right? So he's already been leading you and guiding you. So he's weaving these things in so that you can come into truth and gain understanding. See, it's dangerous to come to a bunch of knowledge and truths, but you're not actually gaining the insight and understanding in the practicality of it as you're going through the process. Because if you ever seen a person who, 1 year they believe one thing, and then you see them the next year, they doing a whole nother thing. You see them 2 years later, and they're doing something completely different. That's a person who is not building. They're not developing understanding as they're going along. They're just taking what somebody says and that's feeding them at that moment and going along with it. And they're not gaining understanding, because there's no way that you can gain and grow in understanding and you be somewhere completely different every year, right? So if you're actually walking with the Most High, he's going to weave these things into your life as to not completely, if he's planting and rooting you, he's not going to be disrupting his own root system, right? He's not going to disrupt his own planting, his own building, right? He's building a foundation and he's sweeping out debris that is in the way of that foundation. So when we trust him with that process, he is able to lead us in a way that's for our edification and that's for our good, right? So be leery of people who try to make you feel like everything that you've ever learned was a lie. Yes, there are a lot of lies that we have inherited, but a lot of times it's not a complete lie, right? A lot of times it's a partial lie, right? And which is still a dangerous thing that we need to come out of. We need to come into the truth and the light of all things. But a lot of times we just need to sweep the floor, right, and get the debris out versus overthrow the whole table. It's like me telling you. It's like I'll come to you and I tell you, you have makeup on your face and there's a little your lipstick just is coming up here a little bit. You need to wipe that off. Hey, your lipstick is off a little bit, and you just like and you just wash your whole face off, and it's like that was not necessary. That was doing a little bit much. Like all you needed to do was just do like that right there, and you'd have been okay. So a lot of times people have you disrupting everything, and you're taking off one thing and putting on something completely different. And you don't really understand what just happened. You have not gained and grown in understanding. So you are in a you're in an unstable place for most of your walk because you're not really actually gaining understanding, right? You're hearing things and they sound good and you're like, okay, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, that do make sense. Yeah, I did always wonder about that. Yeah, okay. And you just go along with the next thing, but you're not really taking things in, right? So yes, there are a lot of lies we've inherited, but everything is not a lie. Everything is not a lie, and everything is not there are some things that are gross untruths. Like they're very far from the truth, but there are a lot of things that it's just a little tweak, So don't allow someone to just throw you into such an uproar that you are discombobulated and willing to grab on to anybody who's willing to pull you up out of this water that you've been thrown into by the same entity, right? So, sometimes, leaders have to be more responsible in how they are communicating and not trying to talk in an inflammatory way that gets people's attention and that gets a lot of people to watch, gets a lot of followers, gets a lot of members and all those type of things, and be responsible instead of just, people have made Christianity just this thing to attack. And then you create this environment where everybody's confused and has nowhere to go, nowhere to follow. When I consider myself within Christianity, I was in the church. I learned a lot of truth in the church. I had a great foundation. I learned about not celebrating pagan holidays and stuff in the church, right? And learned I was in the Most High had me in that environment for my development and for my learning, right? And if someone would have came to me during that time saying things that I hear today, I would have been my root system would have been completely destroyed, right? I would have been completely confused and uprooted, and I would be probably in some complete other belief system at this point in life because it would have disrupted what the Most High was building in me through his process, through that process of weaving, through developing. The Most High knows where we need development, what areas we need to grow in what season of our lives. He places us in environments to be able to do that. But we get so attached to that environment that we are so, we feel deceived when we find out that it wasn't 100% right. They didn't have all the T's crossed and I's dotted. They didn't have it all right. And we go into this thing of betrayal and we completely turn our backs, not understanding that if we have been walking with the Most High, you got to determine if you've been walking with him or not. If you have a relationship with him, the Most High knows exactly where you are. You're not lost. He knows exactly where he has you and which way he's taking you to the destination. So you have to trust that he is in your process and stay grounded and allow him to lead you to the truth that he has for you, right? Allow him to lead you to the truth and to teach you, you know what I mean? And And yes, we're in a time period where knowledge has increased. That is not that is a scary thing, because it's great to increase in the knowledge of Yah, but to increase in just knowledge in general and all these different things coming at you, you're putting yourself in a dangerous place. And some of you had a good foundation within Christianity that just needed some tweaking, that needed some to come into more understanding, that needed to just kind of, you know, sweep out some debris, bring in bring in a little bit more to it, right? You just needed to do some rearranging of the furniture, right? But y'all done threw the whole house away, and now you're in a state of confusion, and you're dependent on these leaders, and you really don't have understanding. And a lot of times when we don't have understanding, we cling to things because we're in a state of fear, right? When you're in a state of fear, like I talked about being thrown out of the boat, you're going to grab onto whatever, and you're going to cling to it for dear life. So some of you have learned that something was a lie in your belief system, and you've thrown it away, and now whatever you've clinged onto, you're holding to that for dear life, because you're like, if I let this go, I don't know where I'm going to be. I'm going to be lost. So now you're clinging on to something else that may not be completely true, and you're holding on to it because otherwise you're going to fall back in the water and you don't know what to do. That's why it's so important to not put your trust in people and in groups and systems, but to put your trust fully and firmly on the Most High and His leading and guiding of you through His Spirit to bring you into all truth. I was studying with a group one time, going back to the fact that everything in Christianity that you learned is not completely wrong. It may have you may have some issues with it, but it's not completely wrong. So I was at one point in time, I've studied with different groups of people, and one group of people that I studied with, I can't remember what the exact topic was, but it was something that I had an understanding of being in Christianity, right? I understood thoroughly Christian doctrine, Christian understanding, right? Some of it which was based on scripture, and some of it which had some of man's stuff added to it, or misunderstanding. Some stuff is not people just lying to you and betraying you. Some stuff people just don't thoroughly understand, because we're all still coming into understanding. But it was something that I understood from Christianity, from my time in just in reading the scriptures and studying doctrine and whatever. And when I came into understanding, coming to studying the Torah more and Hebraic foundation and understanding of the faith, I was in a state of being open of, like, maybe some of the things that I don't understand correctly. So there was something, I wish I could remember what the topic was, but it was something that I had an understanding of being a believer. And, I had, was trying to study it according to the Hebraic understanding in the Torah, and we studied that as the group or whatever. So we were talking about this topic. And then as we learned, got that foundation of what it meant Hebraically and in the Torah and everything, the person leading the group comes back later on, and they're like, I got a understanding of what this really means, like what the Torah was trying to show us, and what this Hebraic thing, what is it really trying to communicate to us spiritually. And when he said the understanding of what he came to, of what it means spiritually, I'm like, this is what I already knew as a Christian. Like, this is what I already had a firm understanding of, So, me, myself, I never let go of any, the Spirit of Yah has always been my teacher. So while I will go amongst people and learn, and I will be sharpened and gain or whatever, I don't ever throw away my foundation for whatever somebody else is saying. I'll hear you, but Yah has to put this on my foundation. So I didn't put aside what I had already believed, but going through this long process with them, I was like, we just went in a whole circle just to come back to the same belief. I already believed this as a belief. I didn't understand, I didn't read Torah like that, so I didn't understand everything in it. I didn't know Hebrew, so I didn't understand the Hebrew, breakdowns of it or whatever. But once I understood all of that, I realized that the spiritual truth that I got from that, I already knew. I knew this as a believer from reading the New Testament and from And from the spirit of Yah that was within me, I already understood this. So now it's great. Yes, I add this Hebraic understanding to it and a more concrete meaning in the stories in the Torah that puts the foundation upon it. That was great. Added to it, that was woo. That just expounded upon it. But if you're gonna tell me what I believed in the church and what I believed as a believer was false, but then take me in a circle just to get me back to the spiritual understanding that I already had hold of, what are we doing? So make sure that nobody is shipwrecking the faith that you already have and the understanding that you already have established in the spirit. And and so going back to that inflammatory speech, if leaders would not try to keep overthrowing you and just allow you to, just add to your understanding, you'll realize that you already have a lot of things in place. You had 3 or 4, 5, 6 pieces of the puzzle. You were just missing 3. Add in this Hebraic understanding, add in the Torah here, and now you have a complete picture that the Most High had already started teaching you through the Spirit, right? So if if leaders will stop being so dogmatic and feeling like they have to be in this position and speak in a certain way, we are all students. We are all students. We are all brothers and sisters. We are all learning. And if we just will humble ourselves to that reality, we don't have to posture ourselves in a way that's making people feel like they don't know nothing, making people feel like everything that they've learned is untrue. Like, I just don't, no. So follow the Ruach, follow the Spirit of the Most High, and allow Him to teach you, and don't allow anybody to overthrow you. Yes, remain open to the reality that a lot of stuff that we think we understand, we may not understand, but don't let that throw you out the boat. Stay in the boat and allow the Most High to redirect the boat, to re-steer the ship, and to lead you and guide you in that way. But don't think that you gotta, like I said, there's times when the Most High would just crash that joint because we have not been listening, and He will just get out the boat, you in the water, and I need to, I'm gonna reach in and grab you because you just not been listening. You've been being stiff-necked. You ain't been hearing me. You just been ignoring me. But otherwise the Most High, he don't got to be that rough with us when we're listening, right? So just allow your journey to unfold. For me, my process was very different from what a lot of people's process has been. A lot of people came to this thing like, oh my gosh, everything's false, and now they're angry, and a lot of things. I just praise the Most High. My experience has been different, where it's been a gradual process of learning. So I see things a little differently, So, that just has been the Most High's doing. So I just pray that you allow the Most High to lead you and guide you. Trust Him to lead you into all truth, and know that we are all students, still learning, still growing. We are living in a system, especially us here in America, that is so vastly different than how things started, and from reality that, it takes a lot of reconsidering things, a lot of re-envisioning things, and that's a process that we have to allow the Most High to guide us through so that we are not lost, so that we don't give up. Because a lot of people if you're not careful, you will get so confused that you will end up just tossing everything and just saying, forget it. Forget it, everything, or forget this whole system. And I've seen many people end up in that process. It starts off with one thing, and then by the time you get through it, you done threw the whole scriptures away, and you somewhere else. So, and that's the goal that I believe the strategy is to throw you off so bad, when it really didn't require all that, right? The Most High's truth is His truth wherever it is. So the seed of truth that was wherever you were, the Most High can build upon it based on your level of humility and submission to Him. And a lot of times it's really our level of the dirt on our lens from our own stuff and our own heart we got going on that keeps us, from being able to fully enter in and embrace what Yah, wants us to see. So, all right, family, just wanted to share that. Shalom, shalom.